On a quiet Tuesday in Cupertino, a senior executive at a major U.S. semiconductor firm received a call that changed everything. His supplier in Shenzhen had canceled the latest shipment of gallium wafers, indefinitely, citing a new government directive. This wasn't a delay, it was a strategic move. Gallium is essential for America's most advanced electronics, from 5G to military radar. Suddenly, the West's technological edge was in jeopardy. Across the US and Europe, similar calls triggered panic in boardrooms. Theoretical trade war had become operational crisis. For years, warnings about China's dominance in rare earths were ignored. Now, the risk was real. Production lines halted, product launches postponed, and the West's tech supremacy was under threat. The US government, once on the offensive, now scrambled to respond. The companies meant to lead innovation were fighting just to survive. Dependency, once convenient, had become a weapon. Beijing's message was clear. The global supply chain is a two-way street. The intricate web connecting a mine in Yunnan to your smartphone is also a conduit for power. What is gallium? A soft, silvery metal that melts in your hand, but in compound form, like gallium arsenide or gallium nitride. It's a game changer. Gallium compounds outperform silicon at high frequencies, temperatures, and voltages. They're the secret behind 5G chips, LED lights, and advanced military radar. Gallium nitride powers the Aegis combat system and satellite communications, giving nations a military edge. Unlike silicon, gallium nitride handles immense power without overheating. This means smaller, more efficient 5G base stations, lighter EV chargers, and more powerful military sensors. Without gallium, technological progress stalls. Companies can't just swap in another material. Decades of research and billions in investment are built around gallium. The entire ecosystem, from design to fabrication, depends on it. Losing gallium is like running a Formula One car without fuel. The machinery is useless. The roadmap for next-gen telecom, renewables, and defense is thrown into chaos. Gallium's absence exposes a critical vulnerability. The world's most advanced tech is only as strong as its weakest supply chain link. And right now, that link is gallium. China's gallium and germanium export restrictions were a calculated response in the tech Cold War. The US had tightened chip equipment exports to China. Beijing struck back by targeting the materials needed to build those chips. China produces over 95% of the world's gallium, turning a simple metal into a geopolitical lever. Exporters now need special licenses, giving Beijing total control over who gets these materials. This isn't a full embargo, it's a strategic chokehold. China can reward allies, punish adversaries, and prioritize its own tech champions. The move mirrors US national security justifications, elevating the dispute to a matter of sovereignty. Global manufacturers face chaos and uncertainty. Any country considering US-led tech restrictions must now weigh the risk of being cut off. The ban is both retaliation and a warning. China controls the tap. For Huawei, once crippled by US sanctions, the gallium ban is a lifeline. Now, as Western rivals scramble for gallium, Huawei enjoys privileged access. China ensures its national champions have what they need, creating a state-backed monopoly on advanced tech production. Huawei could become the sole reliable supplier of next-gen 5G radar and power electronics. Developing nations face a stark choice: buy from Huawei or wait for costly, delayed Western alternatives. The US tried to isolate Huawei. Now, China is isolating the West. Huawei's survival is now a tool of state policy, reshaping the global tech order. The tables have turned, and Huawei is at the center. $603 billion. That's the estimated cost to the US from this strategic materials crisis. The losses start with halted semiconductor production, affecting giants from Raytheon to Apple. Delays mean lost sales, contract penalties, and idle factories. Stock markets react, wiping out hundreds of billions in company valuations. The bigger hit is future market share. 5G, EVs, and advanced electronics are trillion-dollar markets. If US firms can't compete, that revenue shifts to Chinese companies like Huawei. Losing 5G leadership alone could cost the US hundreds of billions in growth. Rebuilding a domestic gallium supply chain will take billions and up to a decade. In tech, a 10-year delay is an eternity. The $603 billion figure is the bill for years of strategic complacency. It's immediate loss, long-term disadvantage, and massive recovery costs. America's tech dominance now comes with a staggering price tag. Before the ban, the tech world was a delicate balance. The US led in innovation, design, and intellectual property. Silicon Valley was the brain, American firms held the patents. China was the world's workshop, dominating manufacturing and, crucially, the processing of raw materials. The US designed chips, China supplied the materials and assembled the products. This symbiosis created a sense of security in Washington. America controlled the hard tech, China the commodities. But building new mining and refining capacity for critical minerals is as hard as designing a chip. China spent years cornering the market, using state subsidies and lax regulations. What seemed like a low-value commodity became a strategic weapon. The US assumed China needed its tech more than vice versa. That assumption proved dangerously wrong. The pre-ban world looked like US dominance, but it rested on Chinese-controlled materials. The foundation was always fragile. The gallium ban exposed the cracks. The gallium ban flipped the script. The US, once the master architect, now lacked the building blocks. China holds the leverage, dictating the pace of global tech production. American giants face uncertain supply, higher costs, and a fading edge. The US scrambles to onshore mining and processing, but these are long-term fixes. For now, American industry is exposed. China's tech champions, like Huawei, gain a protected market and global advantage. Nations worldwide are caught between US tech and Chinese materials. Beijing can now use supply as a diplomatic bargaining chip. The digital world is built on physical resources. The country with the raw materials sets the rules. The US may have the best chefs, but China controls the pantry. And you can't cook if your shelves are bare. The gallium ban's shockwaves reach far beyond the US and China. Europe, Japan, and South Korea, all tech powerhouses, are caught in the crossfire. The world is shifting from efficiency to resilience, forming new economic blocks. The US pushes alliances like the Chip 4, China strengthens its Belt and Road. Developing nations face tough choices, side with the West or keep access to Chinese tech. For many, Huawei is the only affordable 5G option. China's leverage grows as countries weigh their own development needs. The ban is a wake-up call. Supply chains can be weaponized. Retaliation could spiral, food, oil, and regulations all at risk. The fabric of globalization is fraying, thread by thread. Where do we go from here? The world stands at a crossroads. One path: escalation. The US and China decouple, creating rival tech ecosystems, costly, inefficient, and stifling innovation. Another path: de-escalation. Both sides step back, negotiate new rules, and avoid open economic warfare. For the US and allies, the priority is resilience, diversifying supply, investing in alternatives, and forging new partnerships. Producing everything at home isn't realistic, but reducing dependency is essential. The gallium crisis makes this urgent, not optional. This moment exposes the fragility of hyper-efficient globalization. National security now means microchips and mines, not just armies. The challenge: manage competition without spiraling into destructive rivalry. The choices made now will shape whether we face a fractured, dangerous world, or one where competition and prosperity can coexist. The future of technology and global stability hangs in the balance.